Welcome back. I've been busy controlling some of this chaos so we can dig back into the Mustang. Okay, I've been working to clear up space up on that shelf, got some boxes emptied out, some things that can be consolidated. So I hope I'm going to move the car off to one side, get some of these boxes out of the way. I'm also going to see if I can find a spot on the ceiling, see how safe this gets, on the ceiling for this hood and that hood. We'll get into those another time, and then kind of do what I did in the last garage for the fenders. I don't think I have room up above where the garage door is, but this ceiling here is taller, so maybe one here, we'll see. If I can get this area in front of the car cleaned up, get everything up and out of the way, what I might do at that point is see if I can lift the engine out, set it up on the stand, and I should have plenty of room here, even when I pull in my daily driver, to store that engine and move it around. I do love these cars for many reasons, but I just took apart the entire front end of this car using literally 2 different sockets, and that's it. Doesn't get much simpler than that. Anyway, one thing I did notice, got this foundation, concrete base of the wall. I don't know exactly what it's called, but with the little dollies pushed all the way up against that, I've got about 3 inches to spare. So pretty thrilled with that. That I'm not going to smash my car up against the wall, but also that efficient use of space. Okay, I got both of the fenders off. I don't know if the time lapse caught it, but I went ahead and hung them up there. I didn't have to put them perfectly horizontal or lay them out horizontal. I can kind of keep them at that angle and use more of the vertical space. The ceiling is much taller than my last garage. In my last one, I needed to maximize space and keep them up and out of the way so the door could go underneath it. This is, I should measure it. I'll measure it and tell you. This is a much higher ceiling, so there was no concern there. All right, here's one of the hoods I want to hang from the ceiling up there. What I've done in the past with fenders is use just bike hooks, and that works great. I plan to do that with those fenders there, but I don't love this, and this is significantly heavier than a fender. So I think what I'm going to do is just get some eye hooks or some heavy-duty ceiling hooks and use some of the threaded spots here just to attach some chain. So it's actually going to be a little more secure than just, there's not a good place to hook onto this. I suppose I could do there, but yeah, it's going to be unwieldy. I think it's safer just to get some decent screw hooks. So I'll come back to that. Okay, I'm back at trying to get this hood and I guess both hoods up and off the ground. Let me show you what I came up with. I was going to try to fit both of them, one here, but I don't think that'll work just with the way the studs are spaced out, or the joists. I do want to anchor this into a joist. I don't feel like having a hood fall on my daily driver. So yeah, I couldn't really space them out all the way to the edge, and the last joist is right there before I hit this rail. So I'm gonna do just one here and one over on that side. I don't have too much to hang up there, so that should work out well. But here, let me show you what I've got going on. I went ahead and I had lengths of chain sitting around. So I used the rear hinge bolt hole, put a washer under there so that it's spaced out, so this is able to move freely. And I might rotate this to the other side just because of the way the spacing goes. But I got some nice heavy duty anchors. So I'll get both rear sides here, hook it onto there so that it is suspended, and then raise up the nose, the front. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I've got these holes here. I will either use a length of chain. I'll probably just use a length of chain and bolt it so that it makes a little loop, and then I can use one of the heavy duty hooks and right there. That should work out pretty well. Okay, here's what I came up with for the front. I had some other spare lengths of chain, so I just used equivalent basically 5 links there. Got some 5/16 lock nuts on there with some body bolts, and I'll see if I can hook right through this link. Worst case scenario, I can just hook around it. Either should work. Okay, everything's all set up here. I got really good bite on those hooks. So I'm gonna go ahead and suspend it from the back of the hood, pull it up, make a mark for the 3rd hook where I need to install it, and I measured it out with where the joists land. It should, I hope, be really close to where it needs to be. Okay, well, it's up and out of the way. It is securely suspended. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty sure I left enough room. Well, moment of truth. Let's open the garage door and see how close we get. Okay, the upswing of the door as it came around got a little close for comfort, so I went ahead and just drove that hook in a little bit further to keep that hood more flush. Let's give it one more test open close. Of course, I'm across the garage next to the button to push it in case, but let's zoom in. Okay, I'm calling that a resounding success because I didn't crash my garage door into that hood. I'm gonna go ahead and once I get it off the car, rinse and repeat with the other hood over on this side. I'll probably see if I can give myself a little more breathing room just so I'm not as, don't have to hold my breath every time I open the garage door. And that hood actually has the latching mechanism, so I'll figure something out, the best way to hook on there. It might be easier, there might be more places to hook on. I can't recall if I've shown this before. I found, well, if you're taking the fenders off and the hood, definitely take the fenders off first because it's much easier to get the hood off. But what I do is I prop up the hood, I used a scrap piece of wood here just to take the weight of the hood and brace it up. Use a large wrench. I've got used a big 1-inch wrench just to get the spring off of the hinges, take the spring weight off, and then some scrap pieces of wood just to rest the rest the hood onto your fender aprons here. And at that point, you've got, hopefully, if you did it right and kind of put the wood here, you've got the weight of the hood rested on the wood, okay? And then just kind of get a wrench onto 1/2-inch wrench, back out the bolts, and I don't know if you can see, but now the hood is completely free of its hinges, not touching the cowl, resting safely, protecting the aprons if you have them in good enough shape to protect. Now I can just get the hood off here and move it out of the way. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but I went ahead and basically repeated the same with the GT hood. I located the hooks a little bit further from the door so I had more clearance, but that's up and out of the way, and I am super happy. So I've talked about this before. Obviously, the battery tray needs some attention. I've got a new front fender apron panel for that. This passenger side is where I suspect it had the accident because it's a new fender, and plus the damage that I saw, can't remember what I was doing, but there was some adjustments that needed to be made just kind of back on this side. But also if you go along here, you can see how it's just wavy, especially when you get back here, it's buckled. The car came like this. I did do a little extra damage prying this off when I was replacing the firewall and cowl. But then also, we'll see if we can catch this. Where the mounting screws are here, there's some extra blobby welds. So it looks like someone with their, not that I want to talk, but someone with not amazing welding skills went and did some repairs. We'll see if I do just the top or part of this, or, you know, once I dig in, if I replace this whole panel, I'm for sure replacing most of this panel. The only concern I really have is the VIN. If I replace the whole panel, obviously I'm going to want the stamped VIN in there. So either I section in part of this, or I just hammer and dolly and get the top flat. It's not bad metal, it's just warped, and then replace the bottom. We'll see. Once I dig in, we'll tackle that. Okay, we've got those fenders up and out of the way. We got the GT hood up and out of the way, and we've got that standard hood up and out of the way. Things are looking so much better in here, and we finally have access. If you're still with me, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to get that engine up and out of the way so we can keep working on the Mustang.